Gil, Matt, and Kelly, we are pleased to welcome in on the show former NFL player who played most of his seasons in Cincinnati. Oh, by the way, safety who played for 3 teams, host of the opening drive on SiriusXM. Solomon Wilcots joins us. How you doing, Solomon?
Hello, how's it going?
Going very well. Listen, I don't mean to ask a sort of non-on-the-field X's and O's question first, but from your time in Cincinnati, is it possible to overstate how much this moment in time means to that football community?
No, I don't think you can. I really do think you got to understand that this is a team that has suffered long and hard, and for a long time since we last played in the Super Bowl in 1988, up until now, they made it to the postseason 7 times between now and then, had never been able to win. And now Joe Burrow shows up in a quick order, turns it around after winning only, 6 games over the last 2 years. Now here they find themselves playing in the Super Bowl for the 3rd time, and the chance to win their first Vince Lombardi trophy.
Solomon, let's start and talk some X's and O's here. You play in the defensive backfield, and of course this is a game that is highlighted by a couple of just absolutely electric wide receivers in Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. What do you feel like the strategy is going to be? And if you were coordinating the defenses for these teams, what is the strategy to try to limit what Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase are able to do on the field in this game?
Yeah, you got to double cover both of them, right? Particularly at critical moments in games, whether it's 3rd down, whether it's 4th quarter, whether it's the second half. But as the game gets tight and becomes more critical, I think you're going to double both those guys, which means big day is going to have to be had by one of the other guys, maybe a lesser-known guy, whether it's, Odell Beckham Jr., who we do know, but is capable of busting a game wide open, or T. Higgins, who's capable of busting it open. All the number 3 receivers, whether it's Tyler Boyd or Van Jefferson, or maybe a guy we don't quite know, or maybe not thinking about. But that's kind of what has to happen if you're going to put all the resources you have defensively and taking away a Cooper Kupp or a Jamar Chase.
Solomon, obviously the biggest mismatch on paper anyway, backed up by the numbers, is between the Rams defensive line and the O-line of the Cincinnati Bengals. The Rams' first in pass rush win rate on the season, having sacked the opposing quarterback 50 times, 3rd in the NFL. The Bengals' 30th in pass block win rate, having given up 55 sacks. Your confidence level in Joe Burrow and really the Bengals coaching staff being able to prepare for that?
Yeah, I have a lot of confidence that no matter what happens on Sunday, that Joe Burrow is going to be able to overcome the threat of potential sacks or potentially being sacked multiple times. Tom Brady was getting pummeled in a game against the Rams in the playoffs. Next thing you know, the Rams found a way to let the Buccaneers back in the ball game, right? But just talking about Joe Burrow and what the Bengals do, I mean, he was the most sacked quarterback of any quarterback in the league, but yet he's still playing in the Super Bowl. He was the most sacked quarterback of any quarterback in the league, but yet he led the league with a 70% completion rate. He's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, but yet he led the league in yards per pass attempt. 2 things that aren't supposed to even happen. How do you lead the league in yards per pass attempt and completion percentage? So that's exactly what I'm talking about. He has always been able to overcome some of the things that belie sacks or the things that you would point to as a negative.
Solomon, the big storyline, we were talking about this even in the first segment here, was this Bengals offensive line versus the defensive line for the Rams, and you playing in that backfield. How much easier is it for these guys that are going to be covering these receivers, specifically on the Rams side of the ball? How much easier it is for them when you've got a Von Miller and you've got a Aaron Donald doing their thing up front? And do you think that if they're able to get as much pressure as, it seems like a lot of the talking heads out there believe that they're going to be able to get, it's going to be too much for Joe Burrow to overcome?
No, I'm telling you guys, I think as good as the Rams are, go back and look at last year's Rams defensive numbers and look at this. Not even close. This Rams defense is not even close to the defense that Brandon Staley coached a year ago. They're not close in just about any statistical category. I think the pass rush is their best element, which really covers up a lot of the flaws in their secondary. If this pass rush wasn't as good as they are, the secondary would have given up even more big plays, and you and I can attest that they've given up a lot. Okay? But I would have a lot of respect for them. I just know that both teams are beatable. That's the reason why we, for the first time, don't even have a Super Bowl where the top 3 seed has made it. Because in the tournament, anybody can beat anybody. But that doesn't mean the best team is here. The teams that are here are like some superpower. They're not. They're like just good football teams that survive in advance, and now here they go. But I'm telling you right now, the Rams are flawed in certain areas, and I think it's their secondary outside of Jalen Ramsey. I do think the intellect and the ability to communicate, Weddle is an upgrade, but yet he can't run. He doesn't cover a lot of ground. I think if he gets in single coverage against anyone, I think he's going to fail. I don't think his legs are going to allow him to keep up with anyone. And now, it has to bear out. You still have to create situational moments where you can manifest the weaknesses of your opponent. If you can't do that, then it doesn't really matter. And that's the same for the Bengals and wherever their flaws lies. If the Rams can identify them and expose them, that's how games are won. But I've seen games come and go with those liabilities or those flaws never even being realized because the other team didn't even try to exploit them.
Solomon, your final score and your MVP, sir.
Well, Bengals 30, Rams 27. Joe Burrow is your MVP.
Wow, there you go.
Solomon, do you want to tell us some of the work that you're doing with Biotricity?
I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, Biotricity is the company that has the world's best heart monitor, and it's a simple device, and it's called Bioheart, right? It's a constant surveillancing of your cardio activity, and you can wear it while you sleep. You can wear it all day at work. I'm wearing one right now, and barely know I have it on. I forget I'm wearing it, by the way. And I have the app on my phone, which constantly is recording and tracking my heart health. And I can then send that information to my doctor. It's always recording, so I can create a file and send it to my physician. And so if there's ever a cardiac event, whether it's a heart arrhythmia, if I have an irregular heartbeat, or in the morning, which is where most times people have a cardiac event, something occurs, I'm always tracking it. The doctor sends it to the doctor can monitor it, and we can get answers much more quickly. I think we monitor a lot of parts of our body and make sure that we're doing okay, but nothing's more important than monitoring our heart health. So if you know anyone who has suffered from a cardiac event, whether it's just arrhythmia or irregular heartbeat, there are wonderful athletes all the time. I mean, unfortunately, who unsuspectingly may have a heart problem, and they'll just drop while in a contest or on the sideline, and people just didn't know that they had an irregular heartbeat. So this is a way to monitor that. Just go to the website at www.bioheart.com, and you don't even need a prescription to order one.
Thank you, Solomon. Appreciate it very much. Enjoy the game on Sunday.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Solomon Wilcots, everybody. You can follow him on Twitter at Solomon's Wisdom.